Time to get agitated, Bobcat fans. It's time for Bobcat Tracks with Jungle Jake Ramada and Mighty Mike Schultze.
We're in the Hardwood House for our Summer Patio series, brought to you by LaBatt Blue. Welcome into Bobcat Tracks. My name's Jake Ramada, and hey, you're not Mike Schultze. Who are you?
I'm Luke Steiner.
Whoa, Steiner's on the podcast.
Yep.
Holy, whoa.
Not the first time, but the first time I actually sort of the whole episode.
Yeah, that's true, too. Oh, well, thanks for filling in for Mike Schultze, who's being a typical Ohioan down in Hilton Head on vacation.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, he's in the perfect place to go if you're from Ohio, so
yeah,
I gotta give him credit for that.
Yeah. I feel like everyone in Ohio goes to Hilton Head.
That's like a kind of an Illinois thing, too. I have a lot of friends back home that do that, too.
Where are you from in Illinois?
Danville, so 2.5 hours south of Chicago, middle of the state, right on the Indiana-Illinois border.
Nice. We have a lot of listeners from Illinois, so I'm sure there'll be – well, I don't know of anyone from Danville. You may be our only Danville listener.
That's not too much of a surprise.
Yeah, it's not.
I feel like I would know if there's someone from Danville that listens that's an Ohio fan. I'm the only person ever from my high school to go to Ohio, so it's not too big of a surprise for me there.
Huge thanks to LaBatt Blue for sponsoring our Summer Patio series. We're not on a patio today. We're actually in the Hardwood House, only because just schedules didn't line up, but it's okay. We'll get on a patio here soon as well. Joel Greenlee's on the podcast today. Joel was very excited to hop on, and like we say in the interview, our schedules just didn't align, but he was very excited for this podcast interview at the end of our first one. So if you're curious, we go into more about Joel's background and his. This is more of like a part two.
Yeah.
To Joel's his earlier interview. So
the issue is if you want to talk about Joel's complete life, we probably have to have like a 5-hour episode.
Yeah, which is fine, because then we could just drag this out into 5 parts.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It all makes sense.
Works for me. As long as I'm included again, I don't care.
Yeah, no, you definitely will be. We'll make sure that's happening. But I mean, it's Joel Greenlee. It's a fun podcast to talk about just summer workouts, things to expect from this coming year, and obviously what he does outside of wrestling.
Which is a lot, clearly.
Which is a lot. But anyway, here is Joel Greenlee. Joel, this is our second time now that we've had you on our podcast, so thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This is our not our summer patio. We're not on a patio, but this is still our LaBatt Blue series. So I know you were excited, in our at the end of our first epispe about cracking a few cold ones, but I'm sorry, schedules they just didn't align this time.
That's all right. That's all right.
But how have you been this summer? I feel like a lot of coaches, at least in winter time, things are a little down, but you guys still do some summer work. So how is your summer going?
I feel busy, but it's going good. I mean, we've got a bunch of guys in town working out, lifting weights, wrestling, trying to do a lot of recruiting and get some guys here for unofficial visits over the summer. So we had quite a few of those, and so things are going in the right direction, I think.
Yeah. What do you make sure your guys do specifically during the summer?
Yeah. Well, I think one, you need to lift weights. You need to get stronger. I mean, that's probably over the last couple of years, that's kind of been our weakness as a team. Not because we don't lift hard in the weight room or anything like that. A lot of us just came in and we weren't as strong as we need to be. So I think we really addressed that problem over the last 2 years. So we need to keep going in the right direction. And then I think it needs to just be individual work. Like you left last season at level A, and you need to go into next season at level A. Mm-hmm. If you go all the way down to level O or something like that, you're going to take all preseason to get back to where you were. So I think we'll make huge gains, or I think we have made gains over the summer, and I think we'll make huge gains when the school year starts.
Do you have any specific wrestlers that you can think about right now that are doing really well this summer and you think might have a good fall/winter next season?
Yeah,
everyone, I guess you could say.
I won't say everyone, but I think that there's been some guys that have really kind of figured it out. I think Oscar Sanchez has done a great job this summer. I think Carson Brewer's done a pretty good job this summer. I think Zane Lehman has done a really good job this summer. I just like everything about him as far as his attitude, his effort. He's super positive, hard worker, all those things. Kyron Hagen's done a good job as well. Some of it's a little tough. I mean, we've got guys doing internships and all that, and I think there's a lot of value in Alec Hagan's in Detroit doing an internship for Rocket Mortgage, and he's working out with a high school up there that has some college guys back. And I think there's a lot of value in figuring out and working that into your schedule. And might not be here, but you're there and doing all the right things. So I think there's a lot of value in that. There's a couple of young guys I think that have really figured out how to work hard over the summer. I think Colin Roberts came in last year and came in. I don't know if a bad situation is the. I think that's the right thing to say. He just came into a bad situation. He got hurt at Fargo, which is the largest high school tournament in the world. They thought he was going to be out 6 months with a hurt knee. He didn't want to be out, so he just let it rest. Came to practice first day, limping around. I was like, "Bud, you gotta go. It's first day. You're not going to make it." And I went to the doctor, and he was out probably 2 months after surgery. And it was just, I think at that point in time, tough for him to get into it. But this summer, I think he's really learned to work hard. He's got a whole new outlook, and really kind of expecting big things out of him.
I want to go back to Alec Hagan's internship. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's up. What's his? I don't know if you know his major or his plans after college, but that's actually really. I think it's really cool. And like you said, there's some value in kind of hanging out with other guys from other colleges for a summer too, because I'm sure just going one-on-one with his brother, gets old after a while,
Well, so his major was communications. Now he's getting his master's degree.
Sweet.
And he actually, I think he's getting his master's degree in coaching education. So, but the same thing, like his brother's getting his MBA. Oscar Sanchez is I don't know the insurance company, but he's got an internship right now with an insurance company too. And I think so. Oscar travels a little bit as well, so he's got to. Hey, how am I going to get my workouts in when I'm traveling? How am I going to do all that? And I think there's a lot of value in that, in growing up a little bit. I'd love him to be here every single day, but at the same time, my personal opinion is when you know what to do, and you just go and do it, that's when you get really good.
Mm-hmm. Is it like overnight traveling or like in a hotel? So he's just in his hotel room, going through the motions, and just he has a mat with him in the hotel room, or
he's asking the front desk worker to wrestle.
Or he's in the workout room in the hotel, just sliding around, or
a million different things. One of it might be somewhere somebody you can go get a workout in. Mm-hmm. Some of it, run, lift, make some arrangements, find a 24-hour fitness or whatever it is. Those are all relatively cheap to get your workout in for that day. But so I really think he's doing well.
Mm-hmm. I want to get back to recruiting really quick if I could. I mean, you've been around, at least around here, a long time. I mean, you know what you want in your program. You know the kind of kid that you want to coach. Who is that kid? What qualities does that kid have?
Well, I think number one is I want a kid that's a hard worker. There's wrestling's fun, wrestling's rewarding, all that, but there's nothing easy about it. So you're lifting weights, you're running, you're wrestling hard. Sometimes you got to cut weight, lose weight. So there's nothing really easy about it. So I want a guy that's a hard worker, and I think you can overcome. Hard work overcomes a lot of things. Hard work overcomes bad grades, bad shape, poor technique, all those things. So number one is a hard worker, and then we want a kid that's obviously a good student. I'm not gonna pass on a kid because his grades aren't great. But I'm gonna pass on the kid if his grades aren't great and he doesn't work hard. So, that's kind of one of those things for me. And then we want guys that are socially responsible. I mean, I think college is supposed to be a little bit of fun, and you can have fun too, but within the guidelines.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, Athens can get a little tricky at times too with staying in the guidelines. So,
I think we've got a good team and a good group of leaders, and everybody kind of keeps everybody in line. So, knock on wood. Fortunately, we've been doing pretty well in that area.
Well, I mean, one last question on the team, really quick. I mean, it sounds like you're bringing everybody back. I mean, it sounds like that team culture is going to stay intact for this coming year, and you're going to have your core still with you.
All 10 starters will be back. So,
wow.
How many times have you had that happen
Yeah.
in your tenure here? I'm guessing that's not very often that you're able to get back all 10 weight classes.
I don't think ever. I can't think of a time, and something like that would stand out. I mean, we've brought 8 back before, stuff like that, but I don't think we've ever brought all 10 back.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, I hate to use the word expectations, but I mean, are there? I mean, I'm trying to find the word, but there has to be, I guess, a little bit of expectation then for next year and what you guys are able to do with all 10 starters coming back.
For me, the expectations don't change ever. So, our expectation is to win a MAC championship and send guys to the national tournament and produce All-Americans and all that stuff. So, if we had 10 new guys in the lineup, that'd still be the expectations. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
I don't think those really change. I think, you have to set your standards high, and I think we have our standards set pretty high, and we fell short of a little last year of that. And I thought we had a great year, just not a great ending of the year this year, and we need to have a great year and then finish it.
Mm-hmm. Ready to go off the rails a little bit?
Yeah, 100%.
We had a conversation about NIL.
Yeah.
And I thought you had a really, really unique, and I'm sure different than most opinion about NIL. And what do you feel about all the name, image, and likeness stuff coming out?
I'm scared of it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it. I'm not opposed to somebody making money or anything like that. I'm opposed to, hey, you get money just because you're good at wrestling or basketball or track or football or whatever it might be. So I like some of it. I think a little bit like. We've got to place a bigger value in our education. I mean, that's a huge thing. There's 25,000 students at Ohio University, and my guess out of those 25,000, there's a lot of kids paying their own way. They make it happen. All right, we've got a lot of guys we're paying partial way, all the way, all that, and there's some value in that. There's some value in getting that paid for, mm-hmm. and it's lifelong. It's not just the 5 years you're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I know a lot of other coaches would feel that way too. Just, I mean, some of it, we were talking to someone yesterday, and it's like a lot of the smaller schools now feel like just a farm system too for a lot of the bigger schools as well. And I'm sure that just changes the game for you and your staff as well.
Well, you look at you look back at some guys we had. Not to say they wouldn't stay here, because both of these guys I'm going to mention are super loyal guys, and they love their time at Ohio University and all that. But we had Jake Percival back in the early 2000s was a 4-time All-American, and Cody Walters was an All-American or 2-time All-American and was an All-American his freshman year. So both those guys placed in the national tournament. They're probably going to get pretty good NLI offers from bigger schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So they don't stay. Cody Walters doesn't become a 3-time MAC champ. Jake Percival doesn't become a 4-time MAC champ, 4-time All-American at Ohio anyway.
Yeah.
I know Jake Percival's a Ohio Hall of Famer. I don't know the exact year, but I know he's in the Hall of Fame here, and I'm sure Cody Walters will be here soon as well. You put those two one-on-one against each other in their prime. Who do you think wins?
Obviously, you have to take weight classes out of it.
I'm putting you on the spot.
That's a battle. That's a battle I'd love to see. It's kind of funny. Jake Percival is way better in a neutral position on his feet than Cody Walters was. Cody Walters is a lot better defensively, scrambling wise than Jake was, and that was kind of Jake's kryptonite, if you will, guys scrambling around. Both hammers on top. Both could get away from anybody.
I could tell I put you on the spot.
Oh boy! Just plain and simple results-wise, you got to give the nod to Percival probably.
Okay.
It'll be a battle, though.
Are those two? You've coached a lot of amazing wrestlers. I mean, but are they some of the best that you've coached in your tenure here?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt. I mean, we've had a lot of really, really good guys, but there was something special about Jake Percival, and you knew it day one. he might have lost. I don't know the record off the top of my head, but he might have lost 8 matches at Ohio University.
Yeah.
His freshman year is when I've really figured out, man, there's something special about this guy. We were wrestling Lehigh. Their guy was, the number one kid coming out of high school, and first half of the match we're getting beat pretty good. And we come back and win that match. And then another time Jake Percival was wrestling in the All-Star meet in Cedar Falls, Iowa. He's wrestling Matt Gentry, a kid from Stanford who eventually won a national title. We get three takedowns in the third period to win. Ryan Bertine was a 3-time national champ from Michigan. We wrestled him in the All-Star meet the year before in St. Louis, and we made your decision. So,
Jeez.
Yeah, that's insane.
There was something special about him, and same thing with Cody. It's just a different. Cody's a super hard worker, willing to do whatever it took to be good. I would say it if he was sitting here. Wasn't a great athlete, but a super hard worker, and developed a style of wrestling that worked for him. He won 3 MAC titles. All-American his freshman year. Pretty impressive. And where Jake won a lot of matches blowing guys out, putting a lot of points on the board, Cody won a lot of matches 3-2, 4-2,
did what he had to.
Yeah, and then every single time he did what he had to.
That's amazing. And just reading about, I remember watching Cody, but I never saw any tape on Jake. But Cody was just amazing, in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, so they both were unbelievably good.
Yeah. Can we in the first podcast we talked a little bit about you going to Cuba in the early 90s. What was Cuba like in the early 90s?
Like going back in time, like watching an old movie.
Because at that time, I'm guessing like the same as it is probably like 5 years ago. All the cars were like 1960s, everything like that. And I'm sure, like especially all the American-based cars, like the Fords and stuff like that. I remember I had a friend go to Cuba right when they were like able to go as a tourist, and it literally looked like a movie. Every car was from the 60s and 70s, and it was like they smuggled them in to even get there.
It was. You're exactly right. So it was a lot of old cars, a lot of stuff like that, and just made to work over the years. They were 1950s cars and still made to work. Still were on the road. The infrastructure was. The infrastructure wasn't great, like the highways and stuff like that was like, holy smokes, they didn't do a great job here. The first time I think we went to Havana and stayed in a hotel, and they're building the hotel next to us, and it was really manual labor. You didn't see cranes, you didn't see all those things. It was manual labor, and it was a great experience. I haven't been back obviously since you're able to travel there and stuff like that, but be kind of neat to see.
You were there for
wrestling.
Yeah. You won a couple tournaments there, correct?
Yeah, they have a tournament every year called the Cerro Pelado tournament, and then for when I was wrestling anyway, I don't even know if they still have it. I haven't seen any results, so I don't think they do. They had a tournament called the Cuban Grand Prix.
Okay. That's so. I just think about going to Cuba. Okay, I just don't know what it would be like.
It's cool.
I've been in Dominican Republic, but I feel like Cuba would be entirely different.
It's a lot like that,
okay.
But not as crowded
as
the Dominican Republic. I've been there, and I thought that was a lot of traffic, all that. Like that's the one thing that stood out for me in Cuba is we got on a bus and left the airport, and there's not a lot of cars on the road. There's obviously cars on the road, but not a lot. Kind of the cool thing for me was we wrestled those tournaments in a big open air arena.
Yeah.
So it'd be like the convo with the roof, but no sides.
What was that like? Super humid, like hard to wrestle, or did it really bother you at all?
No, I think in the summertime, it might have been tough, but this was February, I think.
Okay. So it's pretty similar.
Yeah, so it was like Florida in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who all gets invited to wrestle in something like this?
They were just man, I'm not going to get it right, but I know Canada was there. I know Cuba was there. Like everybody from Cuba, not just one team, like all their guys. Obviously, we were there. There were some teams from the Soviet Union there. There was usually there's like, maybe a team from China, stuff like that. I don't necessarily know the inner workings of how they invite, who they invite. But for the U.S., it was like it was like a winter tour, and they. So what they did was the top three guys on the national team, you got to pick. Were you going to the Soviet Union? Were you going to Cuba? Or were you going to? I think there was another tournament, and one of them actually was in Kiev. So you went on one of those three tours, and it was kind of brush up your skills, get ready for the World Team Trials coming up, the U.S. Open, all those things.
So you went to that's right. You did go to Russia too. You alluded to his story, or not alluded, but you told us a little story about going to Russia, and things were a little hot between the United States and Russia at the time too. Yeah,
there was like 1991.
Yeah.
Right before the Gulf War broke out was like the first time I was there, and it was a great experience, but a different experience, and that was before the Soviet Union broke up. So, so that was right before they did.
I was wondering too, during your international career and your professional career in general, is there anyone that sticks out to you that like this was my rival, or this is someone I always went back and forth with? I love the competitive nature of facing this one person or a couple people.
Yeah, there's really probably two people, and Bruce Baumgartner was one of them, and he's a 4-time Olympic medalist, 2-time Olympic champ. And I don't know how much of a rivalry it was because I never beat him. So,
why was he so hard for you? Was he just like very technical compared to you, or is like there was just one thing that you weren't incredibly good at, and he was just very, very good at exploiting that?
He was the absolute strongest man I ever wrestled in my life. Was probably the big thing. Obviously, he is probably 6-8 years older than I am. So he won his first Olympic medal, and I was still in high school. And then I went to college and started, wrestling freestyle and stuff like that in the off season. Had a match with him in the U.S. Open. At the time I really thought, I can beat this guy. I can have a good match with him. I just got to slow him down. While I kept doing the same thing, and he kept doing the same thing to me, and and he won big. But I must have left some sort of impression on him because he wanted me to be his training partner, and I went out to his house and lived in his house in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, and trained almost every summer from there on out. And obviously the gap got narrower and narrower, and I actually beat some guys that beat him. He was just the guy I couldn't beat. So he was probably a number one rival. And then Carlton Hassberg, I lost to him in the NCAA finals by a point in '89, I believe. And that was more of a rival back and forth. In the All-Star meet in '88, you could still tie in wrestling, and I tied him in the All-Star meet in '88. Beat him in some freestyle events and stuff like that, but just never, the only time he wrestled for Pitt Johnstown, and that was the last year that Division II teams could wrestle in the Division I Nationals, and that was the only time I saw him all year long. That year was in the NCAA tournament, so it was a 1-0 match, and that's that.
That's tough.
There's an excitement to high-scoring matches, but a 1-0. I feel like there's still nothing more intense than just a 1-0.
Especially if you know so much about wrestling.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard for maybe some people because, like, at the beginning I didn't know too much, and I was just like, okay, like I want to see a lot of points. But now the fact that I know more about it, I'd much rather watch a low-scoring match, like back-and-forth chess match.
Yeah, and generally, if it's a low scoring match, there's not just two guys standing around doing nothing. It's two guys that are creating action, getting attacks and stuff like that, and the other guy's stopping it, and it's a little bit of a scramble. Yeah, that stuff's awesome. If it's two guys standing around and doing nothing, and it's a 1-0 match, it's not so great. But
yeah,
I imagine yours wasn't standing around though.
No, I don't know. I go back and look at some of those videos, and man, I thought I was good. I don't do anything. And that's
you still have those?
Some of them, yeah.
No way.
And that's the way that's the way wrestling's kind of evolved. Like high school kids right now are so good, technically compared to when I wrestled in college and even wrestled after college. They're way more technical than we were then.
Yeah, just about to kind of follow up with that too. How much it's changed since you came up through college and high school, and you're in your career afterwards, and now you're coaching and you're looking at you're evaluating kids now, and like you said, they're a lot better.
They're a lot better. I think with some kids there's still a huge upside. Some kids there's not as much of an upside. Like, I grew up in high school, and it was basically expected that you played football, you did something in the winter, and you were track or baseball or whatever. And now most of these guys just wrestle. Very few of them do anything else. And then there's so many national level tournaments to wrestle in, and it seems like there's one every weekend in the summer. There's some dual thing you can jump in. There's a preseason nationals, a folk style nationals once school starts, the Michigan Grappler, the Indiana preseason tournament, the a bunch of Powerade, Ironman, Beast of the East, all those. So, and then boom, as soon as the high school season's over, there's a NHCS national tournament. So these guys are getting 40, 50 matches a year in high school, and then they're getting another 40, 50 matches in the off season. And there was no national tournament. There's the U.S. Open, and then there's your high school state tournament, and then Fargo just happened last weekend, junior nationals for freestyle and Greco, or actually Greco's going on today. But that was it. I mean, now there's a big national level tournament every weekend.
Do you think that's good and bad sometimes? So like you said, the 20, 30 years ago, it was a kid that played football, wrestled, and then was a thrower for track or whatever it is. And now there's people that are both just staying in wrestling. And I know a lot of people talk about, especially basketball and those types of sports, whether it's not necessarily a good thing that they're playing that sport all year round.
You know what? I don't know if it's good or bad. I think some of it is these guys wrestle so much their bodies wear out.
Yeah.
You're wrestling a couple hundred matches a year now compared to, I think my record in high school is like 70-12 or something like that. And that's 4 years of wrestling, and then maybe had another 20, 30 matches in the off season. So
100, 110 matches in 4 years, whereas these kids are doing 100, 110 a year.
Some of these guys' record in high school is like 50-2, or that's how many matches they're wrestling in high school. Plus, they have the opportunity to, Disney Duels is a big tournament that a lot of the high school teams go to. That happened at the end of June, and some of those guys are wrestling 9 to 12 matches that weekend.
Jeez.
That's insane. So,
I think it's, I think it's good for the sport. I think all that stuff, but I think, I think as a high school kid, you got to be a little bit careful. Some kids everybody's built different. Some kids are more physically mature than others. Some kids are have the strength to do it. Some kids are a little bit farther behind, and you can take some lumps and bumps, and you're not always good at taking care of that stuff as a high school kid, and then it can wear on you a little bit.
Is it hard to recruit that way since there are so many tournaments, and you're just like, I'll just send the assistant coaches. I'm going to stay home and grill with my family? I mean, I feel like that makes it so hard to get out.
It does make it hard, but there's so many, on on the flip side of it, there so many other media things that you can follow it, like flow wrestling, track wrestling. You can watch all those videos. You can follow the tournament on your dang phone.
So you grill and watch on your phone.
Yeah.
I think in some of that, it's tough to like go to some of those big tournaments, like Super 32s in Greensboro, North Carolina in October, I think. And it's a huge preseason tournament. They'll have 22 match, 2 different gymnasiums. It's hard to go to that tournament and pick out really good guys. I mean, you know who the really good guys in, and you know who the guys you're recruiting, and you sit down and you're going to watch them. But it's super hard to come up with, oh, yeah, I wasn't watching that, and you're running back and forth between gyms. It's super hard to kind of find that diamond in the rough guy, go, oh, he's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
when you're not thinking about wrestling and coaching, what are you doing outside these convo walls? Do you have any hobbies or anything?
I do have hobbies. I like to boat.
Okay.
You know, we have a boat. We have a place on the Ohio River. We go down there a lot. Water ski, wakeboard, inner tube.
Mm-hmm.
Have
you taken any coaches with you?
Out of the current group, no. I mean, this hasn't been a great year because of it seems like we get 2 nice days and 2 downpour days. Yeah. So the river's always has been a little bit dirty. I haven't had my boat out, I think, twice so far. Mm-hmm. But I've taken a lot of assistant coaches with me over the years, but just not out of Hunter and Shakur.
Yeah.
Who was the best assistant coach at like a specific sport? So like, who was the best water skier that you've ever had that you've been able to take out?
Me.
Good answer. That's a very good answer.
So Kyle Hansen was my assistant back in the day, and I don't care what you did, that guy was good at it.
Okay.
Just everything.
He was, I don't know if he was a good water skier or not, but he learned how to wakeboard. He's good at darts. He's good at throwing bags. He's good, pool. He's a damn shark. I mean, like everything you can compete at, he is good at and competitive.
I always wonder how people are like that. In everything that they touch, they either are natural and it just takes them. If they did it for like a week, they'd be super good at it. I just don't know what is inside them that allows them to be amazing at everything.
Sometimes I'm super competitive because I always wanted to be, better than my older brother, and you have to be better than your younger brother, right?
Yeah.
I'm the middle guy, so that was that. And if you lost at anything, you have 2 guys making fun of you.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think that's part of it. I think some of it, like, mentally that dude was stone cold. Doesn't matter what kind of pressure, what you're doing. Mm-hmm. If he needed to make a shot in whatever, he made it.
Interesting. Is there anything that you're good at that a lot of people don't know about?
Water skiing, clearly.
Well, okay, other than water skiing.
I feel like you're good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like if you had to pick out one person in our athletic department that's just really good at a lot of random things, it's you.
Maybe. I can do a lot of things. Jack of all trades, master of none type of deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I feel like if I got paired up with you in cornhole or something, and it's
we're money, bud.
Yeah, are we?
Yeah, so you're winning.
That's what I mean.
I'm good at cornhole.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. If I played consistently, I would be pretty good at it too.
Is there one thing you're like really bad at, and and you're just never gonna try it again?
Can't think of it.
What about bowling?
Block that I played. I'm okay.
Yeah. What's your highest score in bowling?
This is a trap question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jake's thrown a 300, so this is a trap question for you.
It's not that. I'll tell you that. I mean, we go bowling over Christmas break with the guys, and I'm always over 100. I mean, that's
good, actually. That's
yeah,
really
if you're
good.
going like 2 or 3 times a year and you're bowling over 100 every time, I think that's pretty good.
You could be a stud.
I just throw it as hard as I can and hope the wind knocks it down.
I mean,
that's my strategy too.
There are a lot of people who play like that, and I respect it. I mean, it depends on the lane. I mean, if you have, I'm not going to get into.
All right, we're getting too far into bowling.
I won't get into it, but
So you throw the, what do you call that?
You
the,
hook
the,
it, yeah.
The hook ball and all
you
that.
hook it. Yeah, it's got a weight in it, so it allows it to hook.
And then you use the little arrows and.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joel just goes up there and throws as hard as he can.
I'm a second arrow kind of guy. So.
Dead center, arm straight.
Yep.
Go. That's.
I mean, that works if you're able to hit the pocket. I mean, yeah.
It helps he has gigantic hands
That's
as well.
also true. Yeah. What pound ball do you throw?
Usually I don't really care. I just go
Whichever one's closest.
This one's a little heavier than the last one.
and get one that my fingers will fit in.
Yeah. That's so
Because
funny.
I'm scared to death of it not coming off, and
Or coming off late, you're throwing in the ceiling.
and I'm going down the alley behind the ball.
Is that the Flintstones, the cartoon that? Is that the
I think so.
Flintstones
Yeah.
where Freddie Flintstone?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is too.
I think it is.
We have time for a couple more questions. Steiner, I feel like you wanted to talk to Joel about.
So you mentioned it before we got on air and started recording that you wanted to play shuffleboard. And I think now that you said that, we have to have like a shuffleboard tournament between everyone that's been on the podcast.
All right, I'm in.
There you go.
All right,
We'll plan it.
We'll have to.
And then we'll make sure we
Well,
do a podcast while we play shuffleboard.
I feel like you have to be the number one seed
Yeah.
because of this whole everything that you do. You are sneaky good at.
I just want to be in the bracket. I just want to be in the bracket.
If I'm there, I'm winning. That's what Joel said.
You'll be in the bracket. I think you'll have to. We'll seed everybody just based on who we think. It'll be subjective for sure, but
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Are you good at golf? I'm trying to think of things that you.
I'm not. I can play. Back in the day, I used to play a lot. I worked at a course when I was in college, and like lunch hour, we'd go and play 3 holes, and after we were done working out, we played for free, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
We'd go play 3-4 holes. If it got dark. Play on the weekends, all that stuff. So over the course of that time, I got pretty good, and then now I play.
just don't go out enough.
I play at our golf outing. That's about it.
Yeah, I was just about to say you guys have a golf outing, so and that seems like it's successful every year too.
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
Yeah.
Great way to get guys to come back and involved in the program, and you get to see some old buddies, and it's one of those things you kind of forget about.
Mm-hmm.
You get busy with your family and your job and all those things, and you forget about staying in contact, but it's a great way to keep those guys involved in Ohio wrestling and involved with their old teammates and friends.
You have an alum, former wrestler that just goes out there and it tears it up every golf outing.
I don't think wrestlers are the tear it up golf outing type of
I would probably guess that too.
Shaking the hockey river kind of guys. Is
I'll,
that
I'll go with tear up the golf course kind of
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, okay.
Not tear it up on the scorecard.
lot of sand traps and everything too.
Yeah.
Well, Joel, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was, as always. Once again, that was Joel Greenlee. Actually, now that we're taping this intro and outro, Steiner and Greenlee got into a quick shuffleboard game here at the Hardwood House. And
I'm sad to report that I did win.
yeah.
But I think we've decided that if we do need to have that shuffleboard tournament we talked about, we should probably go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm going ahead and guess that this shuffleboard might be just a little older, so
Yeah.
it's kind of tough to score. But
There are a lot of things in our athletic department that we should do together. But the problem is everybody's on just such different schedules. Like,
Yeah.
like a golf outing that we talked with
Brennan,
with
yeah.
Brennan. Even shuffleboard would be fun too. But, I remember, I think when I was a GA, we had a big like GAs versus coaches and kickball.
Oh, I'm
softball.
100% down.
And then there was actually my freshman year. I think it was marketing versus comms. We played football at Walter. I remember Michael Stevens threw me a couple touchdown passes. It was
I
funny.
see that being hard to see, but
no,
if you say so.
Ask him dead up. Like we will walk down to marketing right now. He
Okay.
probably doesn't remember that though, honestly. But yeah, and then we played cornhole. I was partnered up with McFan. We went pretty far. I think we made it to the
McFan, I
semis.
definitely think, is a person that would just be incredible at
Yeah.
any yard game.
Yeah. But just like Joel, I just feel like Joel would be good at any.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
As long as there's like slow pitch softball,
Yeah.
I'm 100% in.
is there any news we need to cover? We're totally doing this on the fly. I think Mac Media Day for football is
Yep.
coming up. You're going to Cleveland with everybody.
Next Monday and Tuesday, the 25th and 26th, I think is the dates.
Yeah.
But
That'll be fun. Curtis Rourke and Kai Caesar are 2 representatives.
Yep.
Player representatives, and Tim Album's going up with you guys as well. So it'll be
Yeah, it
fun.
should be a lot of fun. It's in Cleveland this year instead of Detroit, where it usually has been in the past at Ford Field. It's at the House of Blues. I guess there's like a scheduling issue, I think is what the MAC told us. But I would kind of prefer it to be in Cleveland over Detroit.
It just makes sense. I mean, I know it's at Ford Field, and that's the site of the MAC championship game, but also the site of the MAC headquarters is Cleveland. So I just feel like it would just work out for them. So it's at the House of Blues. Whatever. But
it's closer for us, and that's all I really care about.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be fun. I don't think there's really any other news that we really need to report, just because it's summer, and summer is summer.
We're just preparing for everything for the fall. That's all we
the other
can say.
thing. Yeah, I mean, if anything, you don't really want to know what our work schedule is. You just want to know event schedules. And I get that.
Yep, that's 100% the truth.
All right, Steiner, thanks so much for filling in with Scholzy. Sorry that it was just one episode, but we'll throw you in there. You need to be like College Game Day has their
like a guest picker.
Not a guest picker,
no, like
but who's their producer that like
Bear?
Bear. You should be our Bear.
I could do that. I mean, I would be able to talk about what he talks about.
That's true.
But we'll figure out a way.
We'll figure out a way.
The last time I was on, Scholzy just threw a microphone in my face.
Yeah, we'll have you.
Tyler Tettleton.
Yeah, we'll have you sponsored by somebody.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll brainstorm some ideas. I can just talk about random things on the podcast. I'd be okay with that.
We will. Well, thanks, buddy.
Of course.
I'll see you down in the office in 5.
Yep, sounds good. I got to go to talk to Michael. Make sure you weren't lying about the touchdown throws.
No, well, hang on. Then I'm coming with you. Help me tear down, and I'm coming with you.
Okay, we can do that.
That's Jack. Okay, goodbye.